As a kid, I liked listening to Stevie Wonder, and I loved Michael Jackson, his early stuff. I was crazy about that. And Elton John and Billy Joel. I definitely gravitate to people who play the keyboards. That's always my passion is the keyboards. It all started when I used to have these impromptu concerts for my family. I would take my keyboard over to their house and I'd force them to sit down and listen to me play. And one of my cousins said to me, "Hey, that sounds pretty good. You should make a CD." And I was going to just, make a CD for them and hand it out. When I made the CD, I gave it to my family and I gave it to my friends, and people really liked it and responded to it. I never thought that this is what I'd be doing for a living, but as a few years down the road, here we are, and this is what I do. That all came about was I actually wanted to call the company Quinn Entertainment. My middle name is Quinn, but it has an unusual spelling, Quen. When I went to go to search for the name, I found out that the name actually was already being used. And so I couldn't use my middle name. I was so surprised. What came into my head, don't ask me why at the moment, was Fantasia, not the singer, but rather the Disney movie. So I took Quinn and I thought of Fantasia and I kind of merged the two and it became Quentasia. I figured it would be unique enough, it's not a name that you really have heard of, so, it wouldn't be a name that I have a problem using. It turns out that Quentasia actually is the name of a young female girl. Don't read anything into that. Right now, I'm working on my next single, which is called Julie's Song. The first track on that, which is Julie's Song, will be a Latin dance tune, which I think will be great for couples to dance to. It's a nice song to get close to, get close on the dance floor. The second track on Julie's Song is going to be, or actually the second, third, are going to be two tracks from my first single, Elation. And they, of course, are just your straight up dance tune kind of thing. Finally, there was going to be Contemplation. Now, Contemplation is a unique kind of song. It has four distinct movements to it. The first movement is a jazz piece. The second movement, it's also a jazz, but it's more of a contemporary jazz piece, and it's kind of overlaid on hip-hop drums. Then we segue into the third movement, which kind of takes you back into a time warp, and it sounds like classic rock, and classic '60s rocks and soul. And then finally, we get into the fourth movement, which brings you brings you back to that original jazz number, but it's a little more. There's like a string section added to it, and a nice little guitar solo, which kind of rounds out the piece. I think it's pretty cool. I create my music in a number of different ways. Sometimes, inspiration can strike me just by seeing things, like in the instance of Julie's Song. There's a New York television personality that I would see on TV, and when I saw her, for whatever reason, these notes came out in my head, and I started, going to the keyboard and working it out, and the next thing I knew, I had a song out of it. Other occasions, for instance, I can actually dream a song. Usually what will happen is I won't dream an entire song. Maybe I'll have like 3 or 4 bars. It'll be like a theme going in my head. And if I'm lucky enough, when I get up in the morning, I'll go to the keyboard and I'll start working it out. And that's how I come up with my songs. 5 years from now, what I want to do is I want Quentasia to be a major in the entertainment world. I want to expand the record label. I would like to be a global record label. I'm aiming for global distribution. In addition to that, I want to move into other phases of entertainment like film and television. And I'd like to do, all phases of it, from the exhibition end to the distribution end to the production end. Now, I want to be, the next major entertainment company. When looking for talent to sign to the label, what I place an emphasis on is those performers who come across well in live performances. I can't say it enough how important it is to be a good live performer. I think people buy music because they make a connection to the artist. They something that they say, or something about their personality that they feel close to, and it makes them want to know more about that person, and also makes them want to go out and buy that person's music. So I definitely look for performers who do very well in a live setting. Well, this is not something that I would advise anybody to go into if you wanted to be rich. There are easier ways to make money. It's very difficult. The creative process is a very difficult process. It's very iterative. You have, you work on something, and you work on it because you're trying to achieve the right sound, and you're the only judge of perfection. So you're trying to get it to where it sounds right to your ear. And it's very hard, it's very time consuming, and I'm just like everybody else. There are times when I want to throw up my hands and say, what am I doing? This is crazy. But when you fight with that piece that you're working on and you get it just right, and it sounds exactly like the sound you were trying to capture, there's no greater feeling in the world. And then the final gratification, when you can actually share that with other people and they enjoy your work, that's what you do it for. It's that moment of gratification.